So you're trying to decide when to take your Social Security benefit. The issue is much of the information out there is incomplete at best. There's a good deal of it that's overly generalized, and some of it is just plain bad advice. Now, you probably heard some of these statements before. They typically start with, you should always. You should always take your benefit early. And then other people may say, no, 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 no. You should always defer taking your benefit. The problem is, it's just too general, right? It's painting with a broad brush. And this is really, really important. You do not want to take a general approach to deciding when to take your Social Security benefit because you could risk missing out on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in missed benefits to you and your family over your lifetime. Because if you think about it, your career path, your life up until this point has been unique to you. Your approach to Social Security, the how and when to take your Social Security benefit, that should be unique to you as well. So today I want to go over 7 reasons of why you may want to start taking your Social Security benefit at age 62. But before I do that, I want to go over something called the break even analysis. So, this concept of a break even analysis is very common whenever you're talking about when to take your benefit. And what it does is it compares taking the benefit at different ages. So let's just say you may think, what if I take it at age 62? Or I'd also like to see, what if I wait and take the benefit at age 70? So what the break even analysis does is it says, okay, your Social Security benefit, which is obviously a reduced benefit, starts to accumulate like this. And this is the total amount that you can experience over time. So, month after month, year after year, this is the total amount of benefits that you would receive if you started taking them at age 62. Now, if you wait until age 70, you're going to get more in benefits, right? The longer you wait, the more you get. And so, those benefits start to accumulate at a little bit quicker rate. Now, where those cross, right? This point right here, that is called break even. And it's an age. That can be age 79, maybe 80, 81, 82, etc. Now, the old school way of thinking was find out in the break even analysis, determine this age, and if you feel like have a pretty good probability of living past that age, then you may want to consider taking your benefit at a later date. Now, this is too simplistic of an approach. And how do we know that? Well, the break even analysis used to be on the Social Security Administration's page. They used to have it right there on their page. And they took it down a couple of years ago. Why would they take it down? Well, they took it down because they felt like it was detrimental to people making the decision about Social Security because it's just too simple. All right. There are many, many factors that you want to take into consideration before you make this decision. Hi, my name is Jason Biance. I'm a former analyst and certified financial planner. And my goal is to try to take this complex world of retirement planning and make it a little more simple and sensical. I remember the first time I ever heard about Social Security, and I was a kid. I must have been 7 or 8 years old. And what had happened was my grandmother got to the point where she could no longer work. She had severe osteoporosis and she was forced to retire. She came to live with us because she just couldn't afford to live alone. When I say us, I'm referring to grew up with my mom and my 2 siblings in the house. And so I started to hear about Social Security because my grandmother was so worried about it. It's all she had, all right? And she always worried about that benefit coming in every month. This is back in the day when actual checks came in the mail, and every month she would shuffle out to that mailbox and she would be concerned that that benefit was there. And that leads us to reason number 1 that you may want to start taking your Social Security benefit at age 62. And it's a simple one. It's because you need the money. Now, you may have to retire because of a healthcare issue or maybe some other reason, and you don't really have any type of nest egg that you can, pull your living expenses from. So you really have to turn on your Social Security because you need the money. The second reason is you want to enjoy. And I often hear this from clients and they'll say, Jason, I still have my physical health. I still have my mental capabilities. I just want to enjoy the money, right? I want to pursue my hobbies. I want to travel. I want to go visit the kids or the grandkids. And so while I'm still in these go-go years, while I still have a lot of mobility, I want to enjoy the money. And I really can't blame them, right? Now, the thing that you want to consider is taking it at age 62 is a reduced benefit. So taking that smaller amount, it may mean down the road that you have to sacrifice because things are more expensive because of inflation. So even though you may think, oh, I won't be spending more in those later years because those aren't my go go years, those expenses may be high because of inflation. The third reason is life expectancy. Now, when I say life expectancy on this one, I'm referring to somebody who is single. So if you're single and you don't feel like you have a long life expectancy because of your own health issues or maybe family history, you may want to consider taking your Social Security at age 62. And this is because, you spent a lot of years paying into the system and you don't want those benefits to go unused. And, as we're going through these reasons, you realize this is a complex decision and it's a very important decision of when to turn on Social Security. But it's not the only decision that you have to make in terms of retirement. Um, I encourage you to click the link below, and we'll send you a copy of my brother Justin's book, Designed to Last, because as you're preparing for retirement, you want a plan that's designed to last. And the way that you do that is to start by asking the right questions. In the back of Justin's book, he lists out the right questions that you want to be asking so that you can be confident in that retirement. So I invite you to click that link. We'd be happy to send you that book. Now, number four is age gap. And I'm referring to a married couple here. And I'm going to put an asterisk there because it's not only an age gap, it could also be a life expectancy gap. So let's just say that your spouse is a lot older than you, or maybe your spouse doesn't have as long as a life expectancy as you do. It may make sense for you to go ahead and start taking your benefit early, especially if that spouse is the higher income earner and they have the higher benefit because then you can start taking your Social Security benefit early and you guys can start using that for expenses. You can start saving that because your spouse, who doesn't have as long of a life expectancy or you have that age gap between you, if they have that higher benefit, you know that whenever either of one of you predeceases the other, you'll always keep the higher benefit. So it may make sense for you to start taking your benefit a little bit early so that you can start utilizing that and enjoying it and using it for all of the things that we need in life. So, number five is to grow your money. So, imagine this. Imagine you retire and you have a nest egg and you start taking those benefits on a monthly basis for your income, the income that you need. And then we have a stock market crash and it goes down by 20 or 30%. Well, you may want to consider starting your Social Security benefit because that allows your portfolio time to recover. And another way to think about this is if you were to start your Social Security benefit early, that would also allow your assets, your nest egg, your portfolio to grow. All right. It gives it time to grow because you're not taking from it. You're taking from your Social Security. And that may be a good reason to consider this because that nest egg of yours, the one that you're allowing to grow, that's actually an asset that you could pass on to your kids or even your grandkids. And that may be very important to you. Number six is other income. And when I say other income here, I'm really referring to guaranteed income. And what do I mean by that? I mean a pension or an annuity, some type of guaranteed stream of income that you're expecting to get later down the road. So, because you have the security, knowing that you have that stream of income down the road, it may make sense that you start to take that Social Security benefit now because you could pocket that money, you can save it, you can invest it, you can enjoy it and use it for your living expenses. So that's another really good reason. And then number seven is family benefits. So here, what am I referring to in terms of family benefits? Sometimes you need to turn on your Social Security benefits so that another family member can unlock or get access to Social Security benefits. And this could be dependents, this could be a spouse. So, for example, in the form, in terms of your spouse, let's just say that your Social Security benefit would be $800 and your spouse's Social Security benefit is $2,000. So 800 and 2,000. Well, your benefit is less than half of their benefit. Well, if they've already started taking their Social Security benefit, you could take a spousal benefit and get $1,000 a month instead of that $800 a month. Okay. But there's the catch. For you to be able to get that higher amount, that spousal benefit, they have to have already started taking their benefit. So it may make sense for them to go ahead and start so that these family benefits can be unlocked. Now, today we went over the 7 reasons, and it's not the only 7 reasons, but 7 reasons of why you may want to take your Social Security benefit at age 62. We have another video where we go over some reasons of why you may want to defer taking your Social Security benefit. So I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and check that out as well.